technology fit into a tropical paradise? When did computers become crime busters? And what does it take to be an Apple Country of the Year? You'll find out in this quarter's edition of Open Apple. A lot of our energy at Apple is focused on identifying our customers in business, education, and the home. But some of the most devoted Apple fans are those who've discovered Apple on their own. Hi there, I'm Linda Moore. To begin this edition of Open Apple, we're going to take you to the tropical Hawaiian island of Kauai, to a remote spot where some extraordinary people are doing some unexpected things with Macintosh.
The Hindu religion is the oldest religion in the world. There are over 650 million Hindus in the world today. There must be 200 monasteries like this one. Each one has its function. Our particular job is to bring Hindu religion into modern English, make it acceptable for the Western educated person to understand and to apply to his daily life. In order to do this, we use the best technology that we can. And the best technology that we found is the Apple computer because it's so easy to use.
In some ways, it may seem an anomaly that the oldest religion in the world is now using the newest technology, things on the frontier of human ability. But to us, it's the most natural thing that could be.
One of the main things we do at this monastery is publish this newspaper, Hinduism Today. People call this the voice of Hinduism. It's well received all around the world, and it's produced entirely on the Macintosh. It serves as a way of bringing the dispersed Hindu community around the world together.
Knowing how the forces of the universe are working at any given moment is the value of astrology. Previously, there was only a handful of people that knew how to do it and had the knowledge in their head or in their library. Now that library is right here in the computer. The masses now can understand astrology. They don't have to go to an astrologer in India to have their chart done. They can just whip it up on the screen and there it is.
Through history, monasteries have always had some kind of agricultural endeavor to maintain their self-sufficiency, and our monastery here in Hawaii has honeybees. We have 3,000 colonies, which we've developed in the course of less than a decade, which is very unusual. It usually takes several generations to do that, and the Macintosh has really been instrumental in enabling us to handle the information, the financing, to make that leap from having no agricultural endowment to having a full-blown agricultural endowment.
We're not becoming better computer experts. We're becoming better beekeepers and better monks.
In our editorial in Hinduism Today a couple of months back, we urged all the Hindus in the world to buy the Macintosh. And we created an acronym, DHARMA, which, if you spell it out, is the word Dharma. Dharma means many things in Hinduism, but it's like the eternal path. It includes good conduct and the cosmic way, if you will. So our acronym is Drive Hinduism Ahead through Requiring Macintosh Acquisition, DHARMA, meaning that if we, as a family of Hindus, can network ourselves a little better through a common medium, the Macintosh, then Dharma itself will be promoted. Goodness in the world will be promoted. We're creating enlightenment tools to enlighten the world. So if you say that you empower the individual, which you do, we say, what greater empowerment than to take that tool and help enlighten the world?
Changing the world means more than making great personal computer products. For a number of people at Apple, it means taking on that mission one person at a time. Now, in this edition of Open Apple, we're going to spotlight those employees who volunteer their time and skills to those with special needs. And first, we'd like you to meet Therese Nash. Therese works in marketing, but in her spare time brings to care facilities such as this one near Cupertino a lot of warmth and cheer wrapped in fur.
The purpose of Furry Friends is pet-facilitated therapy, where you bring animals to different hospitals, children's hospitals, convalescent homes, head trauma centers, and what it does is it brings warm feelings to these individuals who feel a little bit isolated and frightened by being in a particular hospital or having gone through a very traumatic surgery, and it helps them to get a feeling of somebody cares about them. Help with Furry Friends, we're getting more volunteers. We have some Apple employees who have said it helps them to brighten up their day, feeling like they're making a difference in someone's life. Not only do the animals enjoy it, but the people that we're visiting and the people that are doing the visiting, so everyone seems to win.
He's a golden retriever? He just turned 2 years
We always
old.
think there are 24 hours in a day, but we always seem to find an extra hour to do these kinds of volunteer programs. And I think it's just the philosophy of the Apple people. They're willing to take that time and invest it in something that's worthwhile.
The government marketplace represents an enormous opportunity for Apple, and not just in Washington, D.C., but at state and local levels as well. Our next segment dramatizes how Macintosh, with a new software package, is enhancing community law enforcement efforts around the country.
It was a night like any other night. Of the 1,000 stories being told in the naked city, only a few would cross my path. My name is Archer. I'm a cop. And I was working late one night on a tough case. We called him Mr. Big. We knew he had operations all over the world and was based right here in the valley, but Mr. Big himself, he was a mystery. You see, we didn't have a good description of him. We knew he led the operations himself. We just needed a witness. Finally, it happened. I got a call from a witness who saw Mr. Big in action. I told her to come in right away. This was my chance to bring out the big guns. I could test out a new program called CompuSketch. It lets a plain old cop like me create a composite drawing in no time. We got down to work. I fed her description into the system and let the Macintosh do the rest. At first, it wasn't quite right, but it was no problem for this baby. It has a database of 14,000 noses, several dozen hairstyles, the works. And I could easily position features until it was just right. This was it. We finally had a good composite. I've been trying to nab this guy for weeks, and this was the break I've been waiting for. But I had a feeling we wouldn't be able to stop this one.
Although that was dramatized, it is based on the real use of a Macintosh. With CompuSketch software, police departments across the country are turning to Macintosh to quickly create composite sketches. Now, this next volunteer we'd like you to meet is Joe Shelton, International Software Market Development Manager. Now, despite his busy schedule, he still finds time to play Pictionary with some of his friends here at Stanford Children's Hospital.
Okay, go ahead. The essence of Pictionary is two things. One is to give the children an opportunity to play a game and have fun, which is why we're here. And the other one is to give the children a chance to exercise communication skills and to communicate those through drawing.
A duck, a frog,
I think that the children that I've seen here have something special. It's something different than normal children. Some of them have been incredibly ill. They've gone through chemotherapy and gone through the both mental and physical wreck that causes to you, and yet they come out of it and they seem to sail right on through life. Once you start looking at these kids, you realize that Apple isn't life and death, and that in fact life and death is what's going on here.
I get this one.
Children's Hospital just seemed to be the place that fit what I wanted to do. I love children and I love working with children, but it's the occasional child that reaches out and touches you emotionally that really brings me back sort of week after week.
That just about does it for this edition of Open Apple, but before we leave, let us take a trip to Apple's 1987 Country of the Year, a prime example of how Apple can do business distinctively all around the world. From Vancouver to Nova Scotia, from the Yukon to Saskatchewan, here is Apple Canada.
Good afternoon, Apple Canada.
Often us Americans view us as people from the Great White North, and we talk about Eskimos and things like that. But we're regular business people like most Americans, although our culture here tends to be one which is a little more conservative. The entire population in Canada is 26 million. Our borders go from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific. We've got 7 time zones that we span, so we've got transportation problems and communications problems, which the U.S. does.
On the eastern side of Canada, of course, there's Quebec, which is totally French-speaking, has a French law, French style of doing business, French buying patterns, a very different motive to buy, say, than the people on the West Coast. So we have a very, very diverse set of markets that we have to address. Very often we will do a different promotion in Quebec because a lot of the things we do don't translate that well into French anyway.
Montrer qu'on est les meilleurs.
I feel that Apple Canada Finance is distinctive in that we make a concerted effort to be a partner in the management of the business in Canada, so that we work together as a concerted team to conquer the Canadian marketplace.
We've taken the Apple values and embodied them in a symbolic representation in a manner in which we can award specific people within the organization. It's a real point of recognition for an individual to receive an Apple Value Award.
I look at it in 1988, my goal is, it's something that we Canadians always like to do. We'd like to do something that's never been done before. We want to win Country of the Year 2nd year in a row.